So they released the guy from lockup the next day because they realized that there was nothing on him, and the actual guy, the DJ guy, was on the run. They took me to the gynecologist, they took me to the cross-examiners, and they could not find anything. So they went back to the police station. This was over 3 days after the whole incident, and the police advised both my guardian and my dad to just leave me and just let it be, because there was nothing found. And of course, as I mentioned, that at this point I was so hungry because I literally was starved. I wasn't getting anything to eat because of how much everything that was going on from the whole situation. We were up and down on the road, back and forth to the police station. So literally, I did not eat anything. And at the time, I didn't have no appetite to eat, but I felt hungry. So I remember my dad saying to the police, okay, that's fine. So we drove away from the police station. So it was my dad, my stepmom at the time, and my stepmom's sister, and then my guardian. We all went back into the vehicle, and then my dad drove us to the house, so my guardian's house in Christiana, Manchester, Jamaica. And there was this plot twist. So my dad said, okay then, I'll see you guys later. So I now came out the car thinking, okay, they're going now, thinking everything was okay. So I went into the house, went into the bathroom, and then I was using the toilet. And then as I came out, I just felt a big grab, and he grabbed me and dragged me to my room. And when he dragged me to my room, he pulled out a long hose that was rolled up. A long hose, it was long to this length. If it was long to this length, it was thick. So it was a water hose. Yes, he took out from his pocket that he had cut off from one of his old water hoses. He cut it off with one of those stencil knives, or one of his knives. He used to cut that hose, and that's what he used to beat me with. He was beating me for 3 hours straight. Yes, 3 hours straight, non-stop. And I was told this by my families that was there watching everything. I had fainted at this time because I was in so much agony that I could not keep up. So whilst I fainted, he was still beating me. Yes. And my skin was bleeding. So when you look at my skin was bleeding from literally from my neck go down. Bleeding, my skin was peeled, my body was swollen from my neck go down to my foot. I've got indentations in my skin, I've got peeling. Everything you could have think about that happened on my body, I had it from that beating. And mind you, I did not eat for 3 days. So just imagine you're getting tortured with that beating, plus you didn't eat for 3 days. Yeah, that was my near-death situation. I almost died. I didn't go to school for approximately 2 weeks, because I had to recover. Yeah, I had to recover. Yeah, thank God for his sustenance. It was God that kept me. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. So after about 4 days after the whole incident, after that beating, 4 days after, I was trying to walk. I couldn't walk. So I was limping. And I said to my guardian, I said, I need to walk. I need to walk. And she said, okay. She didn't even stop me. She didn't say anything. She said, okay, because I think at this point she was feeling a bit sorry for me. But I had another agenda. I decided that I wanted to go to the police station. Yeah. So I went to the police station, and I went to the police station to apologize. So I went under the notion that I wanted to apologize to the police for calling somebody else or telling lie on somebody else. But really and truly, I wanted them to see me. So as I was there, I said to the lady, the sergeant, and at the time she was the same sergeant that was looking over the whole case. So it was just right on time. And she said, why do you look like that and why are you talking like that? And I said, no, it's okay, it's okay. And as I was walking away, I was limping. She said, no, 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 come here, come here. So I had like a full body cover up. Like I was in my full tracksuit, like a full tracksuit. And mind you, Jamaica is hot. So what are you doing in a full tracksuit? You know, jacket and everything. Because my stepmom used to obviously go on tour with my dad, so they would get like fur coats and that. So I had on my thick fur coat in hot Jamaica. And she said, no, come here. She started pulling down the zipper of and she saw my neck first, so the bleeding on my neck and the blood clots, because I had lots of blood clots all over my skin. And she saw the bruise on my neck, and she said, no, come here. So she took me to a little room and she pulled down my clothing, and she saw the bruise all over my body, the blisters and everything. Then now the calls start going out. She said, no, no, no. So the calls start going out. So mind you, at this point my dad was getting ready to go on tour. So he was at the airport at Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, Jamaica, ready to board a plane, or just before he was checking in, him and my stepmom, the police intercepted and they held him in a lockup. So they locked him up, as well as my aunt. They hold my aunt in lockup as well. So they had went and arrested my aunt, and yeah, they had them both in lockup. And because of all this spiraled out so quickly, so like everything was just moving quickly. So obviously that interrupted his tour. His tour had to be cancelled because he was in lockup. He had to pay for his bail. So his bond was paid and he got released that same day, but it was in the evening times. Mind you, this was like the morning when he had got arrested and everything, and they were trying to find out information. So mind you, at this point, remember my dad is a celebrity, so all this was on music news, the news, the local news in Jamaica, so all over the place it was like breaking news. So everyone was like wondering what happened, which one of the kids are they talking about, that because now it went down as child abuse. Yes, so it was down as child abuse. So as I said, now at this point people start speculating it was me, because people start piecing in, okay, Christiana, this happened in Christiana, Jamaica. Who lives in Christiana, Jamaica? Who is the daughter of this celebrity? And sooner or later, some of the people, they started speculating, they started to find out, and everything. So after 3 weeks now, I had gone back to school, and I remember going back into the auditorium. So we had devotion that we had to keep every morning. So as I went into the room, I remember everyone turned around looking at me, like for real, like everyone. And I was thinking, really? Like, then I started hearing people say, that's her, it's her, like, or she's the one who got beaten. And then they had their own conspiracy theory of why I got beaten. And of course I started to pretend it was not me. So I started lying, started telling them, no, I was on holiday, I was in Trinidad and Tobago, I was at Carnival. I started coming up with some excuses that did not make any sense, you know. But while some of them believed that, some of them said, no, it's her. And I started making up some names that, no, it's one of my other sisters whose name is that. Like, I made up so many stories. You heard a lot of things as well. People was coming up with so much things, saying things that was not true. So yeah, it was like a lot. So now we had to go to court. So this situation had to spiral into a court situation. So we had court for 3 days. That's how deep this went. 3 days we had court for. And on each day, the courtyard was packed with people just to see what my dad's verdict was gonna be. People come out, families, friends, everyone, like supporters, you know, because my dad is a celebrity. So my dad's supporters came out. So you got lots of people who came out for this specific situation. So I remember before the final day of court, I remember my families, they kept coercing me into what to say, and people kept calling me left, right and center. They wanted to talk to me, to beg me not to let my dad get locked up. because of course he's not just only me, he's got other children that he has to take care of, he has to go on tour, and I cannot let this situation. And then you have some people, they were saying, yeah, you deserve the beating, you're a child, you need to remain in a child's place. And of course, like, I was getting it left, right and center, but I done what I thought was the right thing. And on the final day of court, so the third day of court, I literally told them that I do not want my dad to get arrested, and I do not want him to get locked up in prison for child abuse, and I would love for them to drop the case, and I have forgiven him, and I just want to move on and move forward. I took the blame as well. I said to them that it's my fault, I should have done what I've done, and I know it's out of anger why you reacted that way, but thank God that I'm here. And and then they dropped the case, and that was it. And then it was a celebration, so we started celebrating and everything. So after that 3 weeks from my cousin finding that man in my closet and put it on the condom, to me getting the interrogation, going through gynecologist and going to cross-examination, and getting that 3 hours worth of child abuse, beating and not eating for 3 days, almost died. I didn't see this man again for a long while. So because he had to be on the hideout, I didn't see him for months, until like when the situation had died down. Then I think my dad had forgiven him and they reconciled, because he was a very excellent DJ who people was requesting to come to play on the sound. So I think that's why my dad had forgiven him and called him back after months. I think this was like after 6 or 7 months, but yeah. So thank you guys, and stay tuned for volume 7 part 1. Thank you.